What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So you just finished your upper body or lower body workout, and today I'm gonna give you my complete post-workout routine covering my top 12 stretches that will open up your entire body, increase flexibility, as well as speeding up recovery. The routine can be done with zero equipment, but I'm gonna be giving you modifications to do with bars as well as with rings, so you always can change the routine based on your equipment availability and the mood of your day. With that being said, let's begin by opening up the shoulders as well as the spine. Alright, family, we're going to begin with our shoulders as well as our spine with one of my favorite stretches for the shoulders, which is going to be puppy pose. That's how it's called in yoga. You can also call it kneeling shoulder stretch. You simply bring the hands forward into your fingertips so you have more space to sink down. You can also do it on your palms, but I like to do it on my fingertips. You walk the knees as far back as possible. The more backwards you walk them, the more intense this is going to be. You externally rotate the shoulders so the armpits are facing down towards the floor, and then you simply relax down. You can also look up or extend the cervical spine, so we also get a nice stretch on the neck. This is going to primarily stretch your lats, and you can also play around by walking to one side or walking to the other side, but we're gonna take care of side flexion in the other stretches. That is the first one for the shoulders and spine. If you wanna add a little bit more intensity, and if you have a pair of rings, which by the way, we just released our new rings program on the SM app, you can check that on the description. We do something called hanging cobra. I think facing this way will be better. The higher the rings are, the more intense this is going to be. The lower, the more support you're going to be able to have with the feet, and the less intense it's going to be. Here, I like to enter with my arms bent and my elbows very close to my body, just to protect my shoulders. I have some shoulder issues, and this is the safest way for me to go. And then I extend my legs, and then relax into the stretch. Relax as much as you can. Here, you can just move from side to side. And again, this will open up the lats and here as well as the chest. Mainly just opening into that shoulder range, especially if you've been doing a lot of dips and also a lot of pull-ups. This is a nice way to finish up your workout. The other variation for that one will be to simply hang from a bar. Now, hanging can create a lot of tension in the forearms, which we're gonna be releasing later, but what I recommend is to not squeeze the bar too hard unless you're working on grip strength and you want to do that at the end of your workouts. But ideally, you simply relax and allow the shoulders to sink and go up into your ears and just relax there. Again, you can find stillness or you can find some movement into the position. So 3 stretches that I put into the number 1 stretch. As always, you guys know that I like to give a lot of variations, and it's not going to be 12 stretches, probably going to be like 30 stretches, but those are the 3 first on the rings, on the bars, as well as on the floor, depending on the equipment availability that you have and depending on how you feel that day. Some days you might want to hang, other days you just might want to be on the floor. The second one is going to be the opposite. So here we work on shoulder flexion. Now we're going to be working on shoulder extension with a shoulder extension stretch. So we sit down. The closer we have our hands, the harder this stretch is going to be. The more wider, the easier it's going to be. So find a comfortable position, rotate the shoulders externally so the bicep is facing forward, because the bicep is also going to be a stretch. And then you simply walk your butt forward until you feel comfortable. And then you just relax right here. This will open up your chest mainly, as well as your front delt, as well as your bicep. And you just hold this position right here. If you want to do the rings variation, you simply go to the rings and you do a assisted German hang with your feet. Again, you can do a regular German hang, but that will be more active and you won't be relaxing and speeding up recovery. So from here, you simply relax into the stretch, and with the rings, you have more variability into how you can move with the rings. If you want to do this on a bar, you can find a low bar. Any low bar will do, and then just relax into the stretch. If you don't feel it here, you find a higher bar, and then you relax. And if you don't feel it, You can even go closer, even all the way, for all my flexible people, all the way to super, super narrow grip. And then just relax. Here you would really, really feel it on the chest. So the closer you go, the more you will feel it on the chest. And the more backwards you go, the more you will feel it on the front delt as well as on the bicep. There is a second one, so we take care of shoulder flexion as well as shoulder extension. Now let's find some side flexion into the spine. If you want to do it with zero equipment, you can simply bring your arms up. I like to have a posterior pelvic tilt for this one. And then you simply side flex to one side. It's not about dumping your entire body towards this side, but about lifting the other side. So this side is lengthening and this side is contracting, but we do not dump here. We find length through the spine. You can have the hands behind your head for an easier variation. You can also have one hand here and one hand here for more intense, or if you really want to make it intense, you would go all the way here. Try not to, you can do it, sending the hips towards this side, but if you really want to maximize the stretch and emphasize the stretch on this area right here, you will try to keep the hips as center as they are, maybe a little bit to the side, but don't compensate by just doing this completely. If you want to do that on a bar and you want to target more the lat fibers, we can simply perform a regular lat stretch. One hand goes below for support and the other one goes above. So the hand that is on top, you're going to bring that leg behind the other leg to create a deeper stretch on the lat. And again, a posterior pelvic tilt, what that's going to do is again increasing the stretch on the lat. So again, you can push mildly with this arm and you can simply pull slightly with the other arm, but it's more about sending the body towards the other side. You can also look up and opening up your chest and also find different regions of your lat. Maybe if you close a little bit, you'll find different fibers. If you go here, you'll find more of the middle fibers of the lat as well. So experiment with it, but the stretch that I'm giving you right now is this one. If you want a complete one for this stretch and all the variations, please let me know in the comment section down below. That is with the bar. Now with the rings, it's a bit more intense. It's hanging cobra, but side hanging cobra. So if the hanging cobra doesn't feel quite right for you, especially in the shoulders, I would avoid this. But if you want a deeper variation, definitely the rings side hanging cobra, that's a mouthful. It's an amazing stretch. So you get into your hanging cobra, weird name, I know, probably has another name. And then from here, you simply rotate to one side and you allow more weight to fall into one side. You can even release one hand if the shoulder feels fine, and then allow this area to sink, and you'll feel the stretch right from your armpit all the way to your hip crest. So that will be your obliques as well as your lats. So you have the rings, you have the lat stretch on the bar if you want to focus more on the lats, and you also have the version standing right here if you just simply want to, now let's go to the floor, if you just simply have no equipment or want to do it, or you just like that variation. Another one, just for the sake of it, you can simply just be seated here and just add some side flexion to release into the obliques as well as releasing into the lats. I didn't plan that one. The last one is going to be rotation. So we cover shoulder flexion, shoulder extension, as well as spine side flexion, including the arm going into this direction. Now let's find some rotation of the spine, which is not something that we really do in calisthenics, but if you practice other sports, it's good to do it. And if you practice calisthenics, it's good to just get some rotation action into your body. From here, one knee close to your body, one arm up the opposite side, and you simply hook the elbow and try to rotate as much as possible. You keep the chest up, and then you try to look to the opposite side, so we also involve this cervical spine. Take a deep breath in. You inhale to create some length into your torso, and then you exhale to create more depth into your torso. This improves digestion as well, which will also improve recovery as well. you have that option, but if you want to chill a little bit more, because that one could be a little bit intense, you can just simply lay down. So this is another variation of the rotation. You will bring both knees into your chest, and you would lay both to one side. And again, you can stay here, or you can look to the opposite side to create a complete twist of your spine from the cervical spine all the way to your lumbar spine. So you have options to choose between being a little bit more active, even though you are seated, or being a little bit more relaxed laying down. Here we cover the shoulders in various directions, as well as the spine in various directions. Those were 4 stretches, but with all its variation, it's probably already 12. So I'll see you on the next video. Peace out. No, those actually were only for the spine and the shoulders. The next one is going to be for the forearms. And let's continue with the forearms, because they tend to get really, really tight with calisthenics or with any training, actually. So let's get down into the floor. We're going to be stretching the forearms into extension, into flexion, as well as some massage into the forearms. So for extension, we are simply going to be putting the fingers facing off us, and then you're going to simply lean back. The farther away your hands are, the greater the stretch is going to be, so the harder the stretch, and the closer they are, the more you have room to play to not put that more stretch into the forearm flexors. So even though the wrist is in extension, we're stretching the forearm flexors, which is what we use mostly for false grips and for hanging in general. I recommend to keep the arms fully straight, but you can have a slight bend on your elbows. You can also keep the palm on the floor, but you can also lift them slightly and get more into the fingers and into the hands. So play around with it, and again, you can do this dynamically, but at the end of the workout, I highly recommend that you just sit here, relax, find that point of uncomfortably being comfortable, or comfortably being uncomfortable, and just breathe through the stretch. After this, I'm gonna give you modifications for the bar options, but for now, let's work on now the extensor group. You're gonna be putting the fingers again facing you, but with the top of the palm facing down. The elbows, we rotate them back. And again, don't go too forward on this one because it's a lot of weight into the wrist. You put them very close to you, and then you sit back as much as you feel it. And then you breathe there. Again, I like to really rotate the elbows back, but again, doesn't have to be like fully exaggerated, especially because I'm hypermobile, but just don't be with like internal rotation. That takes a little bit of stretch into some part of the extensor group. So just rotate the elbows back and breathe there. And then what I like to do is, you've probably seen this in many of my classes, follow alongs if you do them. Let me know if you do them down below. And if you want more, down below. And then you can put your knee on top of the forearm and just simply massage at your own convenience and at your own pace. You can spend some time in the areas that you feel very, very tight. You can go from top to bottom, or you can go from side to side, and then you switch side. So you support wrist to wrist to find stability, and then with the knee, you do this. You can also do this massage with a lacrosse ball and get deeper into more areas of the forearms. For the flexors and extensors with the bar, you can simply find a bar and just literally relax here into wrist extension, which again will stretch the flexor group of your forearms. And for this one, I mean, it's pretty uncomfortable, but I guess it works. I feel the stretch, but I would recommend to do this one more on the floor. As another alternative, as a bonus, you can always just do this standing, stretch your flexors, stretch your extensors, but stretching your entire forearms after a tough workout, especially upper body, it's a good idea. I'll see you on the hips. And the next one is going to be for our hips and our ankles, the beautiful resting squat. Because resting, we can actually rest. If you cannot rest here, you can grab onto something or you can elevate your heels, but This, more than increasing flexibility, is actually getting into that parasympathetic state and really relaxing our nervous system. So I really want you guys to find an edge on every position where you can actually relax. Here we're opening up clearly our ankles as well as the posterior chain of our spine, as well as our hips. You can simply just close your eyes and find some relaxation here on the squat. Again, you can move to side, but after a workout, after you've done so much movement, I just like to stay still here for a couple of breaths. Then after we go into the inner hips mainly, we're going to send the knees forward and we're going to stretch into the hip flexors as well as into reversing the spine. So we went from flexion of the spine to extension with a supported hero pose or camel pose. So first variation, just put your hands on your low back and send the hips forward. You should feel some stretch on your hip flexors. If you don't feel it, posteriorly tilt your pelvis in this direction and then send them forward to get some deep stretch. And if you can, just walk your hands back. And if you can, walk them even more back. And if you can, relax down to the floor. So here we'll get into the quads as well as the hip flexors. Again, make sure you're not just dumping your lower back into the floor and your ass into the floor, but you're actually creating some posterior pelvic tilt to really target the hip flexors, especially if you have done some compression work, some L-sits, toes to bar, handstand presses, etc. So we go from the squat to this position right here, which also stretches the ankles into the opposite direction. So this would be the opposite of the resting squat that we just did. And finally, I forgot, 3, 2, 1, it's a seated forward fold. So we go now seated, legs fully straight or as straight as they can be. And then we inhale with the chest up, we reach forward, we dorsiflex the ankle, so we bring the toes towards us, so we also stretch the calf, and you can grab the feet, you can also grab a strap to grab the feet, and then you can stay here. You can even bend your legs slightly if that's more comfortable to you, maybe extend one leg at a time, but again, trying to find a position where you can find stillness and you can relax even your neck. So we go, it's like a little sequence from going from a squat to a reclined hero pose in yoga or however you want to call that position, and then a seated forward fold where we take care of the hamstrings, the calf, as well as the ankles in dorsiflexion as well. No variations for this one, just get into the floor, find a position that allows you to relax, that allows you to breathe, and that allows you to simply calm down the nervous system so you can speed up recovery. Flexibility does not speed recovery in and of itself, but the relaxation that you get from it will. So if you're stretching and you're struggling, you will not speed up recovery. So you want to find those positions where you actually want to relax, unless you want to increase flexibility, which is again totally valid as well. I'll see you for the last one. And we stay in the floor because we're relaxing now. We're gonna finish off with the neck. Actually, we're gonna stand up after this one, but for the neck, we're gonna keep relaxing and calming down our nervous system by stretching our neck. Many ways we can stretch our neck. I'm just gonna give you a very intense one, which is after you finish your seated forward fold, you can simply roll back into your back, that's redundant, and then get your feet back. This will, of course, stretch your entire back, as well as even your hamstrings if you keep your knees very, very straight, but also your neck as well. If you want to get really, really fancy, or if you're really, really flexible, you can bring the knees to touch the ears. So that's one stretch. I didn't plan to cover that one, but I'll give you that one as a bonus for all my advanced people. But the one that I wanted to cover is just simply going side to one side. You can also reach with the opposite hand to intensify the stretch. Make sure to do both sides. And from here, you can also then look to the opposite shoulder or even side pocket, and with the other hand, press down, so you should feel it more on the back of your neck. So you got side of the neck, you got down back of the neck, and then you can also press with your hands up to stretch the front part of your neck, and then with your hands back to stretch the back of the neck. That's it. And finally, we're going to be shaking and then relaxing. So we're going to be increasing a little bit our heart rate and then calming it down. That contrast between sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, it's what allows us to calm us down the most. So we simply, for shaking, you can just bounce in place with the feet down, just gluing to the floor, or you can start jumping from side to side and try to involve the arms, if you did, especially if you did upper body. And if you did more lower body, you can stand on one leg, you can support yourself, and then just shake one leg. Many ways to shake. If you want a full tutorial, please let me know down below. And then you can also do this one right here, or the Conor McGregor one, which is like slapping your body for no fucking reason. And just pretty much move your entire body, get some heart rate up, but not too much because you also want to relax. And after that, you can simply stand still, standing. You can look at a single place if you want to work on your focus, or you can simply close your eyes if you want to relax a little more, or you can go straight from the shakiness on top all the way down into a position where you want to meditate and relax. That could be seated, that could be laying down. Normally, after this, I do some form of meditation or some form of non-sleep deep rest, which is a practice that goes beyond the scope of this video. If you want a video explaining that practice, please let me know down below. I'll also create a follow-along version. I'm actually going to film it right after this, but I don't know which one I'm going to release first. But we're going to be doing a follow-along version, which I'm going to be covering that technique specifically, that also really, really relaxes the nervous system. Because again, it is not a matter of just increasing flexibility, which you can if you push all the stretches to the maximum, which by the way, I recommend holding each stretch for 30 all the way to 90 seconds. But if you don't want to increase flexibility and you simply want to calm down your nervous system, because that actually speed up recovery, just getting into that chill mode, that parasympathetic state, then don't go too far and just find that edge where your body can actually relax. And then this practice, NSDR at the end, as well as any type of meditation, any type of focus practice, will really allow your body to just completely chill down, which will improve your recovery. So for the next session, you have less time of recovery. You just recover faster. If you want to take the follow along, I'll probably put it on the pinned comment if we release it after this one or before this one. If not, just ask us down below. And if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section down below. Again, I do some form of this routine at the end of my workout because it is that important to calm the nervous system. At least I shake and I meditate. And if you follow any of my programs on the SM app, you will see that at the end you have some form of shaking and some form of a stillness, because it is that important. Which, by the way, we just released our new program, which is a combination of weights and calisthenics. You have the options to swap between weighted exercises and calisthenics exercises for infinite combinations. We also released our first fully specialized rings programs on the SM app, and we're going to keep releasing programs for the rest of the year, if we're releasing this on 2024, or for the entirety of 2025. I really don't know when we're releasing this, clearly. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment down below what else would you like to see. If you want to train with me online, again, we have the SM Academy. And with that being said, I'll see you all on the next one. Peace out.